Hello, everyone, and welcome to Body Bags. I'll be your reviewer for today. Lonnie here from Heaven77. And before I get started, I just want to take a second to tell all of you I hope you all are doing very well. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're, happy, taking care of yourself. Just, a lot of horrible things going on in the world right now. And, I wish, health and happiness, good health and good happiness to each and every one of you. So, yeah. Not entirely sure why I chose this movie, but I think mainly a lot of it just had to do with because I just barely watched it a little while ago, and I may as well go ahead and do it while it's fresh in my mind. Now, 2003, Eli Roth made his directorial debut with Cabin Fever, and I'm going to be honest with you. Sorry, I'm going to be honest with you right off the bat. I like Eli Roth. I really do. I enjoy a lot of his movies. Okay. I enjoy I enjoy the Hostel movies, Hostel 1 and 2. I really like those movies. Green Inferno, maybe I'll check with the guys, see if anybody's reviewed that. If not, I'll probably review that at some point too. Um let's see here. Knock Knock, not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Not great, but not bad, not terrible either. But and I like some of the movies he's produced. I mean, a lot of people hated The Last Exorcism. They hated it, especially the ending. I really liked that movie. I like that movie a lot. I went into that movie with no expectations, thinking it was going to be a pile of, you know what? And honestly, I was very pleasantly surprised. Movies he's produced like Clown. Clown is a good movie and all this stuff. So, so for the most part, I do like Eli Roth. I like a lot of the stuff he does. Okay. The Thanksgiving trailer for Grindhouse. I love that. I think that was very fun. Is I get such a good laugh out of that. That was a fun trailer. That being said, I hate Cabin Fever. I'm sorry, the original Cabin Fever. I don't like that movie at all. It's just, that is easily to me one of the cringiest movies I've ever seen. It's like, aside from, yeah, it's got a lot of good gore in it, but it's like the characters are so obnoxious that you just can't wait for them to die. When you got like Serena Vince's character just saying something like, that isn't funny, and the guy's like, yes, it is, you fucking slut. It's like, ugh. Then Eli Roth himself getting in the movie being super cringy and all this, and he's got the dog, Dr. Mambo. Is he a doctor? Yeah, he's a doctor. Doctor of being a dog. Oh, phase. Shit like that. It's like, oh, God, these people can't die fast enough for me. The character Winston in the original and stuff. So, anyway, yeah, I'm sorry. Cabin Fever, despite the fact it's got a lot of good gore and everything else, it's just, to me, that movie is horrible. It's like that, that is torture watching this movie. So, what did I end up watching? The remake of Cabin Fever. Why not? Yeah, for whatever reason, around 2016, this is when this one came out. For whatever reason, Roth decided he wanted to do a remake of his movie, even though the movie was barely 13 years old. 12, 13 years old. He decided it needed to be remade. And so Travis Z directed this movie. It's there's really no actors or actresses in here that I know, truthfully. The closest one I could think of is Matthew Daddario, and the only reason I even know his name, he's the brother of Alexandra Daddario. Is like, oh, Alexandra Daddario, jeez. Anyway, so yeah, for whatever reason, and I picked this up at a pawn shop for only, yeah, it was a pawn shop. I was getting ready to say Goodwill. Now I picked this up at a pawn shop for $2, and I was like, yeah, why not give it a shot? I'll check it out, see if it's worth a damn or not. But anyway, the director Travis Z, I believe he just pretty much just kind of just went off Eli Roth's, and who else wrote this with him? Randy Pearlstein. Yeah, I believe he just went off their original script and maybe just kind of made a couple of little light changes, but ultimately I think it's just the same script that they used for the original movie. The only difference is supposedly, the way I understand it, is that they really wanted to remake this movie because there were elements in the original movie that Roth didn't like, or that he, looking back on it, he was like, this was a mistake, or a lot of the humor didn't really set well with, which that's true, it didn't. A lot of really like just bad humor in the original movie, and they decided they wanted to do it again, but do the same movie, but kind of do it with a more serious tone, do it more dramatically, and try to make the characters less cringy and horrible. Which that's about the only thing this movie really has going for it. Is just that the sorry, my throat's dry. No, not flu symptoms, just my throat's dry. But anyway, just yeah, that's my understanding. Is just that they want to do this with a more serious tone, and just try to make the characters more sympathetic, which they only are by maybe just the teeniest, tiniest, itsy bitsyest little fraction of a centimeter. They're just a teeny weeny little bit more sympathetic than they were in the original, but it's not saying much. It's really not. And but anyway, I mean it's basically it's the same story. It follows the same plot. You got the five kids, kind of Evil Dead style. They're going to a cabin to spend a weekend in the woods and have fun and play around and have some romance and all this other kind of fun stuff. And unbeknownst to them, before they arrive, there's like a guy who lives out in the woods, and he sees his dog is dead. So he goes and turns over the dog, and the dog opens up. Turns out it's been killed by this flesh-eating virus, and he gets sprayed with blood. And so he goes running off in the woods, and he starts to get infected by this virus. And so our five kids, they stop off at a convenience store. So you got the crazy backwoods rednecks and everything. They're like, "What you young people doing around here in these here parts?" The guy who runs the store looks like he looks like he's eyeing them, thinking he's gonna make a jacket out of their skin. And it's like how's he gonna turn this one girl into barbecue and stuff like that. That's what it looks like. But anyway, so you got this, you got the same thing, the main actor. Who's the main actor in here? Gage Golightly. I think that was it. Gage Golightly. I believe he's the one who plays the character of Paul, the main character in here. And I will say, just he was just a little bit less annoying than Ryder Strong was. But you still got the thing, like you got the weird kid sitting out front of the store. So he sits there, it's like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" The kid, and all that bites him, and so again, I would say though the way Michael Daddario plays the character was a little bit different from the way Joey Kern played in the original. It was almost like in the original movie when the actors would go to Eli Roth, they would ask him, "Hey, Eli, what's my motivation? How do you want me to play this part?" It seemed like his direction was always the same. It was always just play it like you're the biggest douchebag that ever walked the face of the planet. That's kind of what it seemed like. Personally, just I think like the only thing that really made the original Cabin Fever stand out was just all the gore in it. That's just my opinion. But anyway, so they get to the cabin, and it pretty much follows along the same lines. You got the one couple. They go as soon as they get there, they go to the bedroom, have sex. You got Paul and the girl that he's trying to get with. She's kind of kept him in the friend zone for a long time, and he's been trying to get out of that friend zone. The only difference is in this one is like she spends a lot of time ignoring him. She's like on her phone, like taking selfies and stuff all the time. Sorry. And then you got the character of Bert, who James DeBella played in the original movie. And Bert was just like he was just such a grotesque character. And the actor in this movie, he's still pretty grotesque. I ain't gonna lie. But he's just a little teeny bit not as bad as he was in the original movie. But he goes off in the woods. He's got the rifle, goes in there. He comes across the sick guy, and he shoots him by accident. And so he goes and runs, gets back to the cabin, doesn't tell anybody anything. But later that night, they come across Grim, who Eli Roth played in the original movie. It's like, he's a doctor being a dog. Ooh, face. Shit like that. But this guy, even though he's cringy, he's not as cringy as the way Eli Roth did it. And, of course, he comes up, they smoke some weed. He tells him he's going to go back to his tent because all his stuff is there, but he'll be back. And so So they're waiting for him, and then so they're all hanging out. They hear a knock at the door, so they think it's Grim. They think he's come back to party with them, smoke some more weed, and all this kind of stuff. And then they find out it's the infected guy. So Bert is like trying to close the door on him, and so he's like spitting blood all over the place, and so he climbs into their car. Same thing like the original movie. And they're bashing the car with a baseball bat and shooting out the tires and all this other kind of stuff. And so he gets in the car and all this stuff, and then he runs off. And then pretty much the same thing like the original movie. He goes, he falls into the local lake where they're getting their water supply from, and anybody who starts drinking the water, they start getting this flesh-eating bacteria. They start getting really sick. Their bodies start to deteriorate, basically melt and stuff, and it gets really gory and gruesome and stuff like that. And and that's the thing. I don't really need to tell you much more. It really follows the original movie a lot, pretty close, and you got the same thing. I mean, admittedly, like a couple of cool, kills from the original movie are not in this one. Like when the rednecks are chasing Bert, like in the original movie, the one guy got the screwdriver in his ear. That was cool and stuff like that. But yeah, they kind of change it around a little bit and stuff. But I mean, you still got the same stuff like the one girl, she's taking the bath, she starts shaving her legs, and it's like the skin and everything starts coming off. They do that there. That's kind of it. I mean, just that's what I say. It's just the comedic tone is kind of toned down, and just the characters are not as horrible as they were in the original movie. That's kind of about the only thing this movie's really got going for it. It doesn't improve over the original movie in terms of special effects, gore, or anything like that. It's it's like, yeah, it's bloody and gory and everything else. A lot of gore and carnage all over the place. But the original movie had that too. So it's not really like improving on that or anything. It doesn't really take any like real new directions or anything like that. It does, it does fix like a couple of the stupid things. Like, I know like a lot of people thought that was the dumbest thing in the world in the original movie when like Ryder Strong, he sees the dead guy's body floating in I think it's the reservoir, and so, he gets on that broken wooden ladder and everything, he takes a stick because for whatever the hell reason, he's got to sit there and take a stick and start poking at it. And he's on that rotted away wooden ladder, which breaks, and he falls in the water. And guess what? That's how he gets contaminated. And, later on in the movie, he starts catching the virus too and stuff, but they change around. Cause like in this movie, you can see like, they change it. That was kind of cool. I like that part where the character of Paul, he goes up, he's standing by the water. He's just kind of looking out. And then the guy jumps out and grabs him and pulls him in the water. It's like, okay, that was cool. I didn't mind that so much, but just that's kind of about it. I mean, I got to admit, like if somebody asked me, would I prefer this version or would I prefer the original? It's like, if I had to pick, I would actually say I'd probably choose this one because like I said, I can just kind of deal with this one a little bit more. And, some of the really stupid things and obnoxious things that were in the original movie, they kind of either they toned that down or they just kind of got rid of it. And they kind of made this movie's a little bit more watchable in my opinion. But it's just, like I said, if you're expecting this movie to, like really up the ante in terms of gore, no, it doesn't. If you're expecting this movie to like, go in different directions and, have like, the victims meet their end in a different way or something like that, it doesn't go that way. It just maybe, like I said, maybe like one of the rednecks, that was about it. But pretty much the movie just kind of follows the original film, and overall, it's a pretty pointless remake. You don't really even need it. But like I said, that being said, it's like if somebody asked me would I watch this or the original, I have to admit I would probably pick this one. I think because I like the little bit more somber tone that this one has. And like I said, just the characters seem like they kind of give a shit about each other a little bit more in this one than they did. Not much, but just the tiniest bit, they seem just a tiny little bit more like human beings in this one. And I think that's what I related to in this movie. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. If you've seen the original, if you love the original, there's really no reason for you to even stick with this. Not really. just stay with the original. Like I said, it doesn't add anything. It doesn't really, that's the only thing they change is just the characters. Like I said, just kind of makes them a little less obnoxious, but that's about it. So, but anyway, that's Cabin Fever 2016. So easily one of the most unnecessary remakes in the world, but there you go. So if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Subscribe to the Body Bag channel. Well, you can subscribe to my channel too. I'll welcome you. But subscribe to the Body Bags channel. We have a different guy every day of the week. Everybody doing a different video. I'm the Saturday reviewer. Everybody's doing great stuff. We're doing theme weeks and always trying to look for new ideas to keep the channel fresh. So yeah, please come on back again. And until then, take care and I'll see you later.